knowing the background and it being at the forefront of everything through my gran, for me, I think it was always going to happen. A lot of people will say that you cut them in half and it's RNLI, and I think this is the case for me. People always say to me, "Why did you join the lifeboat service?" And the only answer I can give it's family. You know, it's literally in the blood, and I'm very proud of it. Very proud of the fact that I've got that heritage. So my name's Jamie Robson White. I'm full-time Second Coxswain at Humber Lifeboat Station and also volunteer at Whitby Lifeboat Station. So from a very young age, it was all, when I used to go and see my grandmother, because my grandmother, my Gran White, was heavily involved with Whitby RNLI, raising money for the lifeboat station, and her son also was the inspector. So it was in the blood. I think it was already part of me. But from a very young age, it was listening to her telling me, showing me family trees, telling me about the stories of me being related to Grace Darling. And I can sort of remember her. I can remember being at her house and showing me the actual family tree and pointing, and you know, this is Grace Darling. At the time I was only young, I didn't really know, you know. And then it's sort of moving through the years. My name is Jamie Robson White. So it was, why are you called Robson? And then you get told the story about that. And that's when it all starts making sense. That I can remember my dad telling me that I was related to the Robsons of sea houses, and they were all lifeboat, coxswains, and all the rest of it. What I do know is they've been coxswains, and there's been a lifeboating family in sea houses, stroke North Sunderland, from around about the 1800s. I think the lifeboat station itself, or there was a lifeboat there from about 1827. And what it stays in this lovely, it's an RNLI journal dated September 1835, and there's a nice big spread on lifeboating families, the Robsons of North Sunderland. And it is a lovely read. And it states in there that there was probably the Robsons from the very beginning up at Sea Houses, stroke North Sunderland. That was the sort of start of the history. So lifeboating's always been in the blood, and from a very young age, knowing about connections for Grace, then the Robsons, knowing that there was lifesaving within the ancestry. And it wasn't until later on in life that you start putting one and one together, going into the history of the families, and it wasn't until, say, very recently that I realised that both intermingled, that you're related to both sides of the family. From my grandmother's side, she was classed as a Fordy. That was a maiden name. So when you look at the family tree and it runs right through, it runs up to an Edward Scott Fordy. So Edward Scott Fordy married a Mary Ann Robson, and it was Mary Ann Robson whose father was William Robson, who was on the boat that went out to the Forfarshire with his two brothers, and I think it was Grace's brother and one other. I mean, it wasn't the lifeboats. I think it was their own cobble that they went out in. So that's sort of the Robson side of it. And then where the Grace side comes in, it's literally from Edward Scott Fordy. His mother was Grace's auntie. So that's that connection. So Grace's mum and Edward Scott Fordy's mum were sisters, and that's where the two intermingle. Bearing in mind, this is Sea Houses, North Sunderland, as it probably was known at the time. Very small village, so maybe like a lot of other villages around the coast, everybody's related to everybody. I always used to go down and meet my gran at the lifeboat station. She always lifeboats, because I'm a volunteer at Whitby as well as being full time at Humber. So on a Wednesday night when Whitby used to train, I always used to go down and see her. she was like an honorary crew member down at Whitby. They used to invite her in and spoil her, look after her and everything else, until my uncle turned up as the inspector, and then she would be nowhere to be seen. So I used to go down and see the lads and be part of it, knowing that hopefully that will be me one day. And then 18 years ago, that came true, which I think was a very proud moment, when them papers were signed to say that was on the lifeboat. I don't think my gran probably really wanted me there because she knows how dangerous it could be, etc. But on the other foot, unfortunately she's not here with us now, but she'd be very proud to what I'm doing, and what I did at that time as a young lad starting off my lifeboating career. And it's very daunting when you're going. Fortunately for me, I knew the crew very well. They knew me. They wanted me to be part of the station as much as I wanted to be there with them. So yeah, it was a privilege knowing that I'm going to carry on this tradition. When I think about what people did in the past, the people say that we're brave, and we do, and all lifeboat crew, men and women, were very modest. We just go out and do what we do. But we've got the technology, the boats, the training, all the safety aspects. What they did, they were the real brave people. They were out in rowing boats, putting to sea with no foul weather kit and all the rest of it. They were the brave people. And joking apart, when I start talking about family and history and how proud I am, I always make a bit of a jest and say I'm better at rowing a lifeboat than I am driving one with engines. One, I've done a lot of rowing in the past, and two, just with the family history, with people pulling lifeboats in the past, and my history obviously with Grace and the Robsons and everything else. They were all coming from a pulling generation, so strong arms and strong legs. My two children are 18 and 20 years old. I don't know whether they'll carry on because they've got their own career paths ahead of them. Not to say that I wouldn't stop them if they wanted to do something. I'd definitely help them if they wanted that, to go down that path. I just don't think I'd like to be on the boat with my own children. I think I'd be too protective, knowing where I've been, what I've seen, and what can happen. But I'd hope that they'd carry on in some sort of way in the RNLI, as in fundraising or doing something just to carry that on, even if they're not operational. Certainly maybe from a fundraising point of view, or just passing it across how good the RNLI is and as a charity, and But it's in their blood as well, and they maybe just get sick of me bleating on about lifeboats. It's my blood. The lifeboat's my blood. It's been there for a long time, since I grew up. I eat, breathe, sleep lifeboating. Everywhere you look, there's something that's lifeboating, whether it's pictures or something on the phone, or it's quite hard to describe how passionate I actually am about the lifeboat, because it's just there. It's a part of me. It is me as such, and I'm proud of it. I don't know what I'd do without it. I think I'd be lost. When things don't go right, it hurts. We're there to help each other. We're a big family at the end of the day, and it's something to be proud of, to be a part of, and whatever happens in my career, whatever path I go, I'm glad to be part of it.
Hello, it's Dee Kafari here, and you've been listening to part of the RNLI's 200 Voices collection. To hear more remarkable stories, head to rnli.org/200 voices, or subscribe to the RNLI, wherever you get your podcast from. Thank you.
"200 Voices" is an Adventurous Audio Limited production for the RNLI.